if I had a nickel for all of the people that reach out to me saying, hey man, I lost my crop, or put in all this work, did all this stuff, and it didn't work out, well, I got news for you. Happens to the best of us, y'all. Prime example, through this whole food forest area that you see right now, between here and a little bit up in the orchard, we got probably 100 gallons of strawberries last year. 100 gallons. Now, the good thing is we were able to give a lot away. We also did quite a bit in terms of putting them away, which is also a good thing. But this year, y'all, we've had almost nothing. And I was sitting here telling folks, hey, you can come out and help us with our strawberry picking, but it ain't gonna happen this year. But not to worry. That's where the beauty and sublime nature of permaculture comes in. In my view, you can take permaculture and preparedness and overlay one another, because they really are the same thing in my book. In fact, I can absolutely positively prove it. Look, you're gonna have things that just don't work out. And that is just the fact of business. When you do this stuff, when you do this kind of work, there are always gonna be losses. That's why if you have strawberries, you don't put in just one type maybe. We got two. Or if you have blueberries, you don't put in one type, or fruit trees, whatever the case may be, we put in multiple cultivars of everything. So even though our strawberries didn't come in, and I'm gonna say the number one chief reason is they were probably over-pollinated last year. Michelle thought it might be disturbance. I don't think it's any of that. I think it, honestly, that we got so many last year. Part of the reason why one of my heroes, Stefan Subkowiak, got rid of his bees, and he uses natural pollinators right now, is that, yeah, we got this massive crop that year, but you don't necessarily get anything for the next couple of years. But that's the beauty of permaculture, y'all. Because you know what? I didn't get the bumper crop of strawberries that I love so much, but you know what I love even more? Blueberries. And guess what? Got them here. They're thriving. We got berries on here. In fact, in some cases, we've been actually picking some. Over here, another blueberry. Look at all the berries on this one right here. And check this out. Yeah, look at that. Perfectly blue. No chemicals outside of the ones that just fall from the sky that nobody seems to want to talk about. And then over here, another cultivar of blueberries. Look, blue. Yeah, how about that? Over here, we got more blueberries. So check this out. Look, y'all, that's the way nature works sometimes. You're going to have a bumper crop of some things some years, and then other years you're just not going to have it. And then here's the beautiful part. These blueberries, because they're grown here, using my compost, the whole 9 yards, even my urine, and a number of other things that we put out here, look, they're specially made for me. So how cool is that? But we don't just have a blueberry harvest. So strawberries, yeah, we're not going to get a ton of them, but we are, by every stretch of the imagination. Blueberry, 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 blueberry. Yeah, I'm sounding like Bubba Gump right now, but there's blueberries everywhere. So that's what I'm going to get this year, but that ain't it. Let's talk about some of the other things that we have tons of. Right here, we got a currant, and then, you know, we got stuff. It's relatively new, but check that out. There's something. Now, there's more on there, but they're not quite ready to rock and roll yet. But currants just bring me right back to my childhood. That's another story, happy parts of my childhood anyway. That brings me to another thing that we got plenty of, and we'll go look at that. Look, all up and down this orchard, y'all, we got apples. We got raspberries, a whole ocean of them here. Not to mention all the doggone herbs that Michelle has planted all throughout there, but raspberries, I mean, we got thyme, rosemary, and boy, look at that rosemary. You can just take a piece of it, smell it, eat it, especially if your breath is kicking. But check this out. Look here. Raspberries. Raspberries. And I'm telling you what, these ain't your store-bought raspberries where they're just flavorless. These guys, there's just a couple of them, but they're loaded through here. These guys, I'm telling you, it's like eating a Jolly Rancher. And once again, they're perfectly made for us. Once again, ocean of raspberries. And yeah, Michelle's a little bit greedy about this stuff. She'll go on her little nightly walk with her little doggy, eat a bunch of raspberries, and then hand me 2 or 3, like, here's what's left. Yeah, and she's the one holding the camera, shaking her head like, no, that's not true. That's absolutely true. Anyway, over here, Asian pear. Look, we got pears on it. Ready to rock and roll. Let's go over here. Check this out. Loaded with peaches. I don't even know what cultivar this is, and frankly, I don't care. All I know is that for every single thing, it's early, mid, and late. So if a late frost hits us, or an early frost, or some pestilence were to come in here, or even something man-made, we always got an option B. All right, so here's another part of our orchard, and this is one of the ones that's emerging. We got a lot of good things going on back there, but they're not ready. They're really, really juvenile, but they're growing very well. Let's talk about some of those other things that you could even call wild foraging. Like right here is one of the edges of my property. And if you listen close, you can see my hot wires being grounded out, tick, tick, tick. Well, what's doing it? Well, it might be this very, very, very invasive blackberry that runs all alongside that fence. Blackberry. And let me tell you what, these ain't like those blackberries in the store, you know, where they taste all medicine-y or like there's some kind of chemical on them. Usually, I hate blackberries. If they're not this kind of blackberry, I don't want anything to do with them. But check it out. It serves a double-edged sword. You heard me talk about permaculture and preparedness? Let's say things get totally stupid, and judging by that debate last night, it will. You think something that's as thorny and viney and just tough and thickety to get through, you think that might be a good place to put on, or something to put on the edges of your property? Let's go on up here. You'll see what I mean. As we go through, it's not something I want to prune. Number one, how many things out there will provide you food and protection all at the same time? Look at these blackberries, for crying out loud. This is a doggone problem. Yes, this is a massive problem when it's out in the middle of my pasture. But right here on the edge, this thing is, it's the cat's meow. I mean, look at that. How many blackberries do you think I could fill over here? How many do you think Michelle could make jam out of? How many do you think we could put back or freeze dry, whatever the case may be? The problem is the solution. This is why, y'all, I love permaculture so much. Here's another prime example of what I'm talking about. Now, these peaches are up near the house. My house is basically that way. This happens to be a majestic peach. You can't see it so much, but there are peaches everywhere on this thing. And they're going to come in later. Let's go this way a little bit, and I'll show you more of what I'm talking about. Now, there's a combination of a couple of things. The microclimate where we are here is much different than it is down in the lower country on this property. Remember, we got 1,000 feet of elevation from the bottom to the top here. So I can grow things and do things. It might seem a pain in the keister for a whole lot of people, but you know what? I can grow things here that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to grow in this zone by virtue of the altitude, because for every 1,000 feet you go up, you gain a latitude north. That's another conversation altogether. Over here is a Bell of Georgia peach. Now, this thing is coming in 2 weeks early, and it's really mind-boggling. And guess what? These guys are ready. Now, here's the beauty. And you know what, y'all? No coddling moth problems, no disease problems, no nothing. And I'm going to always go right back to what we're doing basically in that mulch ring and all the other things that we're doing, where we're not employing any drugs, not anything else. It's just basically doing what nature would do. Okay, so we got a bunch of them over here. They're coming in right now. We got another peach over here. I'm going to try to get up closer so you can see it. And folks, when I tell you these peaches are off the hook, if you've eaten them, if all you've ever had are the ones at the store, or maybe at some of these orchards where they pick them real early, well, you haven't really tasted a peach. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and bite into this one. Check this out. No stage magic, no nothing. Haven't tested it. I mean, this is all being filmed live right now. Tell me if you ever seen this happen with a regular peach. Good night. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. The peachiness, it even has a slight aroma, which you ain't ever going to smell in a regular store-bought peach. But number one, they're coming in right now. The ones down at the end, the majestic, they'll come in later. These guys, I don't even know what cultivar it is, but check this out. They're about ready too. Let me feel of it and see. Not quite there, not quite there. I pulled one off the other day. It's a little more mild, but it is better than anything you can hope to buy. The beauty about this is that, number one, I'm employing things within different zones that I have here in this place. So like I said, got peaches down below, we got peaches higher up the mountain. And because of the microclimates there, they're gonna do different things. So you wanna observe things. But in addition to that, we got peaches that, let's say it was a late frost, which we didn't have. I wouldn't be pulling peaches off this tree right now. But this tree would have been compromised, but this one wouldn't have. The one down the way wouldn't have. So it's multiple ways in which to be able to use and work with nature instead of trying to go against it or planting things in places they shouldn't go. Now, it doesn't hurt to have an experiment around, but I mean, this is a brilliant, beautiful example of what I'm talking about. And by the way, like I said, you'll notice there's one cultivar of peach, here's another, and we're gonna have things in between there. There's even an apple over there, a Liberty apple that the sheep have worked on a little bit. Point being is that we have multiple things in multiple places for multiple reasons. And you could do the very same thing. Moral to this story is you're gonna have losses, and I don't care what it is. Even after having done it for all these years, you're gonna have animals that you're gonna lose. You're gonna have perennial systems, you're gonna lose. You're gonna have annual systems, you're gonna lose. And in all of it, you're gonna be like, good night, man, is it even worth it? Well, I can tell you that I think it is. And part of the reason being is that when I saw years ago that permaculture and preparedness were really unified, the very same thing in my view, it made it a whole lot easier. Knowing that, you know what, maybe those strawberries that we planted out there, that we put in, maybe they didn't do so well, but guess what? These blackberries did. The peaches on that tree over there are doing just fine. There's so many things that are, but you got to remember, 2 is 1, 1 is none. And a lot of my friends in the preparedness space would probably do well to remember that, even in your growing systems. So folks, don't beat yourself up. You're going to have losses. You just turn back around, stay away from the chemicals, come back next year, you come out swinging, you put in other things, something doesn't work well, but something does. So it's just a matter of finding which dog to take to the hunt. Whether it's in your pasture systems, whether it's out here in it could even be in your natural foraging systems. Something's always going to give, and something's always going to take. Something's always going to blow up. It almost sounds like we're talking about the book of Ecclesiastes here. Anyway, y'all, if you need some of this comfrey that's just blowing up all the way around me, go to the website. We got it there. World's Best Deer Repellent Bone Sauce. I make it right here. We got that at the website as well. And don't forget, remember, August 29th through the 31st, Homesteaders United Jamboree. It's going to be a camp out. It's about as close to an all-inclusive as you're ever going to find. And you're going to walk away knowing how to do some real stuff. Until next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. We'll see y'all next time.